release that he can't get to.
If you guys are looking for a place to get some reliable Ultimate Team coins, be sure to check the link in the description below to cointraders.co and use code LEGACY for 5% off of your purchase. Yo, what is going on, guys? We're back today playing some more NHL 18. We got a video suggestion from my good pal over on Twitter, also known as the hybrid of Tinder and Twitter. I meant to actually say Twitter, I swear. Twitter. My buddy Tommy DeMarzo, he's like, you know what? Let's figure out who the real MVP is in the NHL by going out there and taking away every team's best player, simming up an entire season, seeing how said season plays out, and then doing a second season with everybody's players back on their rosters, seeing how the season finishes out, and again, seeing the impact said player has on each specific team. Now, I'm going to go out there and make it clear real quick. We are not playing the he said, she said game on which player is the best player on each team. We're just going to go straight by overall because we don't need no controversy here of who I think the best player on the team is and who somebody else thinks the best player on the team is. So we're just going to go straight down the list and wipe off every team's best player. See you later, Ekman Larson. All-Stars, they got a lot of good players. See you later, Bergeron. Nice to see Bergeron's. Did I just not move? Yeah, I moved Ekman Larson. Buffalo is going to lose Jack Eichel, obviously. Calgary, they got no, I was going to say Giordano, but it's not. It's actually Gaudreau at 90. Giordano's on an 87 overall this season. The Hurricanes, Sebastian Aho is going to be their player. Man, the Hurricanes do not have a lot of high overalls. Blackhawks are obviously going to lose Patty Kane. The Avalanche are going to lose McKinnon. That's a big loss. McKinnon, his overall's been going up. The Blue Jackets are going to lose my good friend Bobrovsky. I don't think we can do that. They're not going to let us. I don't know how to go about that. This is a very good question because Bob really is the MVP of the team. So we have to find a way to... I guess what we're just going to have to do is, since we're taking away the player and we don't have a choice, we're just going to have to go out there and throw in a backup goalie. I don't want to have to do that. But then again, I mean, we're talking what the impact is if these guys are off the team. So I guess that truly does show a big difference. You're missing a goalie there. We'll see how their defense does without the goalie. We'll do that for both teams. The Stars are going to lose my boy Jamie Benn. I thought I was going to lose Sagan. We didn't. We lost Dylan Larkin off the Red Wings. Looks like the Oilers are going to lose McDavid. That's going to be a big difference maker over there. Florida's going to lose Alexander Barkov. Or like Barkov. Drew Doughty losing the defense overall there on the Kings. And then finally, well, I guess not finally, but, you know, Ryan Suter all for the Minnesota Wild. Carey Price, again, he's going to be the other goalie that we're going to lose here. We're going to go out there and throw, we can't throw Tuukka on the team. That may just be a little bit of a cheat right there. We're going to throw this guy's whose name I can't throw out there. All right, let's just keep you on the list here real quick. Roman Josi, Corey Snyder's going to be off the Devils. We're going to lose another good goalie. We're going to throw Hart over there. You know what? That's not a bad replacement for the Devils. 75 overall. It's not a good one, I guess, overall-wise. John Tavares is going to be going off the Islanders. Rangers are going to lose Lundqvist. I think that should be it for the goalies of teams we're losing. Eric Carlson's off the Senators. I hate to see how they're going to do without Eric Carlson. They're struggling right now with Eric Carlson. Voracek's going to go off the Flyers. We're going to lose Crosby off of the Penguins. You know how the Penguins are still nice and stacked without Crosby. Interesting to see how much of an MVP he is. They can't be counted in this game because, you know, obviously it's just a game, but you got to put into effect these guys on the second line, the third line don't have to see quite the matchup. Crosby has to see both. Crosby off the ice, got to move him up on the line there. Malkin can handle them first lines. Kucherov's going to go. I like seeing Kucherov go. See you later, Kuch. Toronto's going to lose Auston Matthews. Vancouver's going to lose Brock Besser. And then, not finally. Marc-Andre Fleury is an 88 overall these days. Okay. He's going to be off of them Vegas Golden Knights. They're going to really struggle, the Vegas Golden Knights are, if I had to guess, losing their starting goalie for a not-so-starting goalie. Plus, they only have an 85 overall as it is. And then finally, the Washington Capitals are going to lose the one and the only Alex Ovechkin. I said finally again, and I lied. Winnipeg is going to lose Blake Wheeler. Okay, we have finished it up. I'm going to go jump into season mode real quick. We're going to sim up the season. We're going to see how that season played out, see who won a Stanley Cup, see who had the good seasons, see who had the bad seasons, and then we're going to go ahead and once again complete another season following that with the rosters back to normal. Season number 1 is complete, and our beneficiaries seem to be Dallas right now. The Dallas Stars. Their struggling defense doesn't seem to matter too much, or we're going to call it struggling. I guess it ain't struggling too badly when they win the Stanley Cup. The Ducks, as you can see right there, we use the Ducks to sim it. They had a pretty solid season still. Looks like Edmonton came out on top. No McDavid, and Edmonton came out on top of their division. Think that one too. 106 points without McDavid. And they called this guy an MVP. 102 points out of the Ducks. 94 points out of the Kings. 90 points out of the Canucks. 88 points out of the Sharks. The Sharks took a big beating. They couldn't quite make the playoffs. 86 points out of the Calgary Flames. 80 out of the Vegas Golden Knights. Even without Fleury, without a goalie, they did pretty solid. They probably called one up from the AHL. I think they have a decent one down there. 78 points out of the Arizona Coyotes. They're still bad. Sorry, Arizona. You guys will get it sometime. 101 points out of the Stars. 100 points out of the Minnesota Wild. 96, 96, and 95 Predators. Jets, and Blackhawks. Now, the Blackhawks did barely squeak in there without Patrick Kane, but it didn't seem to matter besides that. 82 points out of the St. Louis Blues, though, so they had a pretty rough season. Who'd they lose? Tarasenko? I'm assuming it was Tarasenko. That was pretty killer for them to lose Tarasenko, too. The Atlantic Division, Tampa Bay still had 103 points. See you later, Kucherov. Didn't matter. It's amazing. You think you take away these teams' best players, and they're still going out there and performing. I guess when every team loses their best players, it's a little bit different. 100 points out of the Bruins. Bergeron, the defensive centerman that he is, just didn't make a big impact. 98 points out of the, I almost said Kings, the Red Wings. The Red Wings benefited mad from this. It almost helped the bad teams. The Sabres made it. The Senators made it without Erik Karlsson. No wonder he wants out of there. They don't need him. 88 points out of the Panthers and 83 points out of the Leafs and 71 out of the Montreal Canadiens. I think we could have said before this video even started how big the MVP is for Carey Price when it comes to be out there. He's definitely the MVP of that team. 108 points out of the Carolina Hurricanes. Again, we see these teams lose their best player, and it just seems to help these bad teams. 96 points out of the Penguins. Well, I guess I shouldn't say a bad team. Carolina's not terrible, but I mean, as far as overalls are concerned, not a very good team. 93 for the Rangers. No goalie. Who needs Lundqvist? The Rangers definitely need Lundqvist. I see how many shots he sees in a game. 89 out of the Capitals. 86 out of the Devils. 80 out of the Blue Jackets. They suck regardless every time. 80 out of the Islanders. John Tavares was a big hit. And then 68 out of the Flyers. Voracek, big impact. 68 points. Here's to see how teams step up. Raquel had 73 points. That's pretty nice for Raquel. Wouldn't expect a season like that out of him. Let's see who did step up. Stamkos still dropped 95. Sagan dropped 90. That's why the Stars didn't need Jamie Benn. Jamie Benn's a big help, but Sagan in the middle helped him out very well. Claude Giroux blossomed without Voracek. Who needs him? Pasternak, 84. Who needs Bergeron? 82 out of Mike Hoffman. Really? Erik Karlsson leaves, and all of a sudden Mike Hoffman's a stud. 82 out of Taylor Hall. Palat at 82. 79 out of Evander Kane. We're seeing some surprising seasons. 79 out of Evander Kane. When you consider, I guess we took, what, 4 good goalies out, put some bad ones, and maybe that helped a little bit. But still, a point per game is nothing to be slacking. You only play them teams, what, 8 times a year out of those 4? Sometimes 12, depends if they're your division. Not your division, obviously. Joe Pavelski, 78. 77 out of Marchand. Panarin, Duchesne. And then Bo Horvat rounds up the top of the page. Mark Stone also having a good season. So let's go ahead and sum up a second season. Let's see how the goalies did real quick. Let's see who lost into the top for goalies. I always neglect goalies and forget to look at them. The goalies were Vasilevsky, Ben Bishop. Looking nice. All right. 931 save percentage out of Bishop, too. Dang, he was having a great season. Couple good seasons out of the goalies over here. Not too shabby at all. 248 out of Martin Jones. Probably would like to see better out of him. 251 out of Crawl Dog. 279 out of Freddie Anderson. He misses Auston Matthews. We got to check the awards out. We got to see who EA finds as the MVP with every single team's MVP out. That don't make sense, right? Art Ross, Stamkos, Hart Memorial, Tyler Seguin. There it is. Tyler Seguin. My boy Tyler Seguin is the most valuable player to his team when all the best players on everybody's team's gone. James Norris went to Klingberg. No wonder. Lady Bing went to Sagan. Barzal. Smythe went to Ben Bishop. The Vezina went to Bishop. Scott Darling went to Jennings. What? What is going on? We have some crazy guys coming out here with awards. Jordan Stahl to Selke. Not too big of a surprise there. He's a great defenseman, and they lost Bergeron. Ted Lindsay went to Sagan, and then finally Maurice Richard went to Stamkos. So Sagan, once again, they got the Ted Lindsay as well, so the league found him as the most outstanding players as well. Let's go ahead, though. We're going to put all these guys back on their teams that we took out, and we're going to sim up yet another season. All right, season number 2's finished, and the Toronto Maple Leafs have won the Stanley Cup. This team didn't even make the playoffs last year. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. If I have to compliment Auston Matthews and say he's the MVP of the real MVP, oh my goodness. I'm kidding, Toronto. I'm kidding. People always take me so seriously on the YouTube. Like I say one little thing. I just like chirping teams. It's all in fun, and everybody takes me so serious and gets really mad about it. It's all in fun. It's all in fun. It never hurts to chirp the other team. Just don't be personally mean about it. You just talk about how bad they are and how much greater the Blue Jackets are. Anyway, carrying on. You see what happens here? I'm trying to explain stuff. Get a little distracted. I didn't want to bring up the player stats. I wanted to bring up the standings. Look at that. Brock Besser comes back, and all of a sudden, Vancouver's the best team in the league. LA, again, another team that has a much better season with Drew Doughty back on the team. The Oilers struggled. It was the best team in the conference or in the division last season, was they not, without McDavid? McDavid comes back, 93 points. Love it. Again, Calgary, though, another good season of them as well. Vegas, with Marc-Andre Fleury comes back, they did get 8 more points. He definitely does have a big impact on that team. I think they have a lot worse of a season. 88 might be reasonable with a sim with him, but without him, definitely has to be lower than that. Look at that. Arizona, 88 points as well. Ekman Larson making a big impact over there. San Jose, though, and Anaheim, 2 surprise misses with their MVPs back. You can see those big jumps from the one the MVPs did come back for some teams. And you know what? They paid the price for it. Moving to the Central. Nashville, once again, you see my boy, gosh dang, what was it? Roman Josi. Seeing that defense come back, got them 110 points. Seeing Patty Kane come back, the Chicago Blackhawks went from barely making the playoffs to 105 points, as we expect. Winnipeg, Blake Wheeler comes back, 99er. 88 points out of Colorado, having some good seasons. The Blues, once again, even with Tarasenko struggling, the Stars. Everybody loses their MVP, and the Stars go out there and come out on top. But you know what? Everybody gets them back, and they struggled mightily. 72 points. It goes both ways here. You can be like, well, you have the MVPs, and you also have the fact that the league's a little easier, so what teams can succeed now that there's more teams without their best players. Moving to the Atlantic, Tampa Bay, yep, still pretty freaking good at this game. Florida. 98, 97 out of the Leafs. The Bruins, Senators, Sabres, the Canadians once again struggled mightily. How did they do better without Carey Price? That's some EA logic right there. Boston with 83 points. I really expected better out of Boston. No Bergeron, and they did. I guess without Bergeron, they was better off. That's the thing. You take away the team's best players, and it helps some of these teams as well. Like I said, it goes both ways. You take a best player off everybody's team, the teams do get weaker. Some of the teams that are more balanced after that best player go out there and make a bigger impact. Moving to the Metro, my Blue Jackets probably still didn't make the playoffs, but we'll look just in case. 98 out of the Flyers. The Flyers, Voracek made a big difference. Remember, they'd gained 30 points. They went from 68 points to 98 points with Voracek. Are we going to argue and say Voracek's the MVP? That's a tough call right there. 30 points, though. That's a big jump. 68 to 98. The Penguins had 95. 93 out of the Hurricanes. The Blue Jackets did make the playoffs. Now we're talking. The Capitals, 83. What kind of world are we living in? 83 points out of the Capitals, 80 out of the Devils, and then 79 out of the Islanders. Again, the Islanders struggled even with John Tavares. Let's go ahead, though, and go ahead and jump and see how the league did. Getzlaf comes back, and Raquel doesn't have quite the outstanding season. He has to sit there and take a back seat, though, so it makes sense. Points-wise, Kucherov came back and regained his throne, but not so quickly. Phil the Thrill, 98 points. Look at Phil go. Crosby, 95. 89 out of Stamkos, making a big difference over there. 86 out of Malkin. 82 out of Ovi, 81 out of John Tavares. So we definitely do see a little bit of a shakeup. We see some of them better players from everybody's team. 74 out of Erik Karlsson, for example. Auston Matthews, though, 78 points, 21 in goals, 55 assists. Made a huge difference for that team, obviously. We're going to see how the goalies did. See if Freddie Anderson had a better season or not, or if it had a lot to do with Auston Matthews. Freddie had 42 wins, 24 losses, a 915 save. He was still average on his save percentage, 260 goals against average. Again, not that hot. They just had a lot better season offensively because of the only Auston Matthews. The next big question is, who did they find to be the most valuable player to the league? Most of us would already have to go out there and guess. It's Phil Kessel, it's Steven Stamkos, it's Kucherov, and it is Phil Kessel with the Art Ross. Most points, obviously. The Hart Memorial, most valuable player on the team, Nikita Kucherov. The league continues to think it's a Kucherov thing. The James Norris, though, went to Drew Doughty. Again, showing the importance of defense, how important Drew Doughty was to them LA Kings. The Lady Bing went to Phil Kessel. Brock Besser coming back with the Memorial. We already know how important he is on Vancouver. I mean, we're seeing it right here. The importance of players, though. Kucherov's a big help. Drew Doughty is massive to the Kings. You say Brock Besser, the future of the Canucks, obviously a huge impact with him missing. They're definitely the MVPs of their team if they ain't the MVPs of the league. Conn Smythe, Patrick Marleau, the Vezina went to Rene, the Jennings went to Rene, Mastodon went to Giordano, Selke still going to Jordan Stahl, Nikita Kucherov with Ted Lindsay, and then Maurice Richard with Ovechkin. So I hate to say it, I guess I'll have to hear you guys' opinion on it. Who's the most valuable player in the league? If that team would lose said player, technically the most valuable player to the team, the award that should be the Hart Memorial Trophy, technically, the most valuable player to the team, it went to Kucherov, but you see how good Kucherov did. Stamkos at 95 points. I mean, do you really give the Hart to... That's tough. You're like, is that the toughest player? If you have two guys 95 points, what do you go with on that? I want to hear you guys' thoughts, though. Who do you think's the most valuable? Who do you think's the most valuable player, literally, to their team if they was completely missing? Do you think it's Auston Matthews? Are we thinking Kucherov? What about Phil the Thrill? Drew Doughty? You could say Sergei Bobrovsky. I wanted to say Carey Price, but the Montreal Canadiens struggled regardless. Let me know what you guys are thinking, guys. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.